So this video is going to look at security monitor gameplay where you can switch between monitors, and by doing so the point of view of the player changes, so you're looking at different rooms and different locations of the environment. So just to set expectation, the rooms obviously are going to be very primitive. It's just going to be like a floor and a back wall, and I'll make them different colors so you can see that you're looking at different rooms. So this isn't meant to be this great 3D environment. This is simply looking at the switching between camera functionality. So first thing we want to do is we're going to create some cameras. So we have this one by default, and by the way, I haven't done anything yet. This is how it looks to begin with. So copy, paste, and let's call this room 1 camera. We'll take that, we'll rotate it -90 degrees, push it out in that direction. Let's move the field of view. There we go, I made it smaller, and we'll push out the camera. Now we'll copy that, paste it, call this one room 2 camera. Slide that over. And we'll copy it one more time. We may have to move these around so that they're not overlapping, but again, this is just the broad strokes to get you the idea of how to move between cameras. And we'll slide that one over as well. Okay, so now we're going to create a room. So, game object, 3D object, cube, and we'll make this like 0.1. And we'll make this like 3. Set these to 0. And let's make this like 5 deep. See how that looks. So let's click on the main camera. Down here you go to preview. Alright, so let's move that cube down just a little bit, and we'll rename it floor. We take that, we copy it, we paste it. We'll call it wall. And that will get rotated by 90 degrees on the x-axis. Again, let's take a look to see what that looks like. So, let's take the floor, scale that out to 4, wall, also scale that out to 4. Let's move it in a bit. Okay, so that's good enough. So you're still gonna be able to see to the left and right, but the idea is that you have a floor and a back wall. Raise that up a bit though. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on wall, drag and drop it onto the floor simply so it's a combined, they're linked now, the floor is the parent. Just going to copy and paste. We'll call this room 1. We'll slide it over. And we'll rotate it. Now if you click on that camera over there, again you see the view, is really close to being right. We'll just push that back a little bit. Okay. Copy that, paste it, call it room 2. Click on that corresponding camera. Looks about right. Copy, paste one more time. Call it room 3. Click on the corresponding camera. I slid it over a little bit too much. Okay. And now what we'll do is just going to create a couple materials so as that it makes it really evidently obvious that they're different rooms. So let's just take a material. We'll call this red matte. Click on it. Albedo. Set it to red. And then for room 1, paint it red. Create material, blue matte, albedo, blue, kind of purplish color. Expand room 2, drag and drop. So that's a blue room, and we create one more. Call it green matte. Again, change the color. Okay, so the office room, which is viewed by the main camera, is white, and then the other ones are red, blue, and green. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a GM object. There's really nothing magical about GM objects. It's just a way of connecting functionality that really isn't necessarily associated with any one other object. So you can use it for game flow reasons. And it doesn't have any kind of physical appearance, so you can just like push it off to the side. So what we're going to do, and I already wrote out the script ahead of time, so I'm just going to copy and paste it a little bit at a time and explain what we're doing. So create C#, and we'll call this cams. Okay, let's open that up. First thing we'll do is we're going to create new variables. So at the top here, public transform. You use transform when it's an object in the game, whether it be something that's already in the scene or a prefab. So public transform office cam, that's going to be in the main cam. Public transform room 1 cam, room 2 cam, and room 3 cams. Go ahead and save that. So now, when we attach this to the GM object, it's going to have those variables. So what you do is you're just going to drag the corresponding cameras. So main cam will go to office cam, that's the default one. Room 1 cam to room 1 cam, room 2 cam to room 2 cam, room 3 cam to room 3. So what you've done is you've made the game object aware, for want of a better term, aware of the other cameras. And so that allows you to toggle between them, or eventually we'll be able to toggle between them. It'll let you manipulate them in some way, and the way that we're going to is by switching which one is the camera that the player can see out of. Next thing is we need to create key codes. Key codes are what are used to input from the keyboard or from the mouse or other controllers. So, public key code view office, public key code view room, public key code view room 2, public key code view room 3. So the idea here is you can name the actual variable whatever you want, I like to name it in a way that's meaningful to me. And so in this case, this button's going to let me view room 1, this button is going to let me view room 2, this button's going to let me view room 3. So now we have to assign those buttons. So again, on the GM object, you'll see those appear. So office, let's just make it alpha 0, room 1 will be alpha 1, room 2 will be alpha 2, room 3 will be alpha 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. If you're using a game controller, you just swap that out with whatever button you're clicking on the game controller. Or maybe using left and right triggers to cycle through them. Okay. Here's where it all comes together. In the update section, you're going to check for those inputs. Okay, so if, parenthesis, input.getKeyDown. You want this to be getKeyDown because getKeyDown is a single event. If you just do getKey, it's rapid fire, and we don't want that. We just want a single button click to be identified. So input.getKeyDown, view room 1. So if the key is being pressed, which is the alpha 1 key, then we want something to happen. We want 4 things to happen. See these variables? You can modify the objects that these variables are referring to. You simply take the variable name and then you say what you're doing to it. So the office cam, get component camera. We said the office camera is the main camera object. Get component. It's not a coincidence that these are called components. You're actually trying to get one of the components attached to this. What component? The camera component, right there. And then we're looking at the status of it being enabled. True or false? False. So we're saying shut off the main camera. Since it's the room 1 camera that we're pressing, same thing. Get component camera enabled. This time it's true. Now here's the thing. Since we don't know what camera someone is on when they hit one of these buttons, you have to make sure that all the other ones are off. So it might seem a little bit redundant, but unless you're tracking which camera is already on, the only way to know for certain is to shut them all off. With it only being 4 cameras, this is just as easy as doing that. And now let's just rinse and repeat. Okay, and there it is, but we'll still walk through it. It's exactly the same idea. Input, get key down, this time the view to button. And the view to button, as we said, is the number 2 key. So if number 2 is pressed, same thing, those same 4 lines, it's just rinse and repeat. Except now it is room 2 that you're activating and deactivating all the other ones. Input.get key down, view room 3. So this time it's the alpha 3 button over here. And therefore it's the camera 3 that should get activated. So, you know, looking at this, if you take a step back, it's like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. It's really not. You're doing 2 things. You're checking to see what key is pressed, and then you're using get component to either toggle on or toggle off the camera status. And then the last one is get key down, view office, and it sets the office cam back to on. And that, if I haven't forgotten anything, should do it. That should be all it takes to cycle through the cameras. So no error at the bottom. Click on start. By default it uses the main camera. Now you can see the other room here in the distance. So if this room was properly closed off, you wouldn't see it. So I'm going to press the number 1 key. Boom, it changed to the red room. Number 2 key, changed to the blue room. Number 3 key, changed to the green room. And there you go. So we'll hit number 0 and it brings us back to the office. So it's that easy. It's that easy to have security monitor gameplay. That it's that easy to cycle between cameras. So I'll probably do at least one more video for this, and what we'll do is we'll apply maybe some kind of distortion filter to the camera to make it look like, you know, what you'd think a security camera would look like. You know, like the kind of horizontal lines and things like that. And we also might make the cameras rotate back and forth, since cameras tend not to be static. If you want them to rotate, that's actually a very easy thing to do. So probably do that in the next video. For now, we'll just go up to Save, Scene, and we'll call this Office. Let's save it. Okay then.